What if the scariest prison wasn't made of bars, but of your own thoughts? Emma boarded her usual train, only to face her deepest fears about love and commitment. Metallic creak echoed through the empty car, too sharp, too hollow for the familiar 1147 she rode every day. Her mother's voice whispered in her memory, "Yuka, and keep running from your heart forever, sweetheart." The empty train car became a mirror, reflecting back every relationship mistake she'd ever made. Each station stop revealed another painful truth about why she kept running from the people who cared about her most. The question isn't whether she will escape the train. It's whether she will finally stop running from herself.
Subscribe now and turn on notifications to never miss a story.
The train wheels screeched against the tracks, a sound too sharp for the smooth rails Emma knew. She stared out the window as buildings rushed past that looked wrong somehow. This wasn't her usual route home from downtown. The familiar coffee shops and apartment buildings had vanished, replaced by structures she'd never seen before. 20 minutes earlier, she had rushed onto what she thought was the 1147 train. Her phone buzzed with another desperate text from Jake. "Please, Emma, just talk to me. We can work this out." She had turned the phone face down and practically thrown herself into the first available seat. The breakup had been messy. 3 years together, and she had ended it over a stupid fight about moving in together. Jake wouldn't stop calling and texting, begging her to reconsider. Static crackled through the air before Emma noticed the silence. Her eyes widened as she looked around. Every single seat was empty. This line was always packed, especially at this hour. Commuters usually filled every available space, but tonight she sat completely alone. The silence pressed against her ears like cotton. She pulled out her phone to check her location. No signal. The little bars at the top of her screen showed nothing. Emma felt a pain in her chest as panic started to creep in. She fumbled for her train ticket in her purse. The destination was smudged beyond recognition, like someone had spilled water on it. The ink had run together into an unreadable mess. The train speaker system crackled to life with static. "Next stop, Willowbrook Station," the automated voice announced. Emma's throat felt dry. She had never heard of Willowbrook Station. She had been riding this train line for 2 years, and that stop didn't exist on any map she knew. Emma stood up and walked toward the front of the car. Her footsteps echoed in the empty space. She pushed through the doors into the next car. Empty. The seats looked like people had just left them. A monogrammed handkerchief lay folded on one of the blue fabric seats, the initials RM. Embroidered in fading gold thread. Emma picked it up, wondering whose story it held, whose tears it had dried. She moved to the next car. More empty seats. Wedding rings, love letters, broken picture frames. Each seat whispered a name she had betrayed. The abandoned belongings felt warm to the touch, as if their owners had just vanished moments before. The conductor was nowhere to be found. Emma had walked through 4 cars now, and she hadn't seen a single person. She found the emergency call button near the front of the 3rd car. She pressed it hard, holding it down for several seconds. "Is this train even real?" she whispered to herself. Nothing. No response. Not even a beep to confirm it was working. The train speakers crackled again, approaching Meadowview Junction. Another stop that didn't exist. Emma's hands shook as she grabbed onto a seat back for support. The train wasn't slowing down, kept moving through the darkness outside, carrying her to places that shouldn't exist. She realized this train was taking her somewhere she had never been before. The doors remained locked. The windows wouldn't open. She couldn't get off until the train decided to stop. The thought made her stomach turn. She was trapped in this moving box with nothing but empty seats and other people's forgotten belongings. Emma walked back to where she had been sitting. She settled into the same seat, trying to calm her racing thoughts. Her breathing came in short, quick bursts. The empty train car felt like it was watching her. Every vacant seat seemed to have eyes. The silence pressed down on her shoulders like a heavy blanket. The train kept moving through the night. Emma closed her eyes and tried to pretend this was all just a bad dream. But the gentle rocking motion and the sound of wheels on tracks felt too real. She was stuck here, alone with her thoughts and whatever this strange journey had in store for her. The darkness outside the windows seemed to grow thicker, swallowing the world beyond the glass. The lights dimmed, and when they came back, the window showed a chapel. Emma's heart stopped as she looked at the glass beside her seat. Instead of seeing her own reflection, she saw herself standing in a white dress. David stood next to her, his face full of hope and love. The church was packed with their families and friends. Everyone was waiting for her to say yes. Her pulse hammered against her throat as the memory surfaced. But in the reflection, Emma watched herself turn around and walk away. She left David standing at the altar, his face crumbling as she pushed through the crowd. The reflection showed her running out of the church in her wedding dress, her heels clicking on the stone steps. She had never looked back. "Why did you run?" David's voice came from the window glass. Emma's eyes widened as she stared at the reflection. "I would have loved you forever. Why wasn't that enough?" The reflection changed. A flash of guilt twisted in her stomach as she saw herself with Michael in his apartment. He had made dinner for her, candles lit on his small table. She watched herself smile as he said those 3 words for the first time. "I love you, Emma." But the reflection showed what happened next. Emma had stopped returning his calls. She had blocked his number. She had disappeared from his life without explanation. "I opened my heart to you," Michael's voice whispered from the glass. "Why did you ghost me? What did I do wrong?" Emma tried to look away, but every surface on the train had become a mirror. The metal poles reflected her face. The overhead lights showed her past. The floor beneath her feet displayed moments she had tried to forget. Every reflection showed the same pattern repeating over and over. Her chest tightened as she saw herself with James at that party. He had trusted her completely. But the reflection showed her kissing another man while James was getting them drinks. The look on his face when he found them together, the way his shoulders dropped, the way he walked away without saying a word. David's hope, Michael's longing, James's heartbreak blended into an unstoppable echo. Their voices layered over each other, creating a chorus of pain and confusion. Emma felt a pain in her chest that made it hard to breathe. She covered her ears, but the voices kept coming. "Why weren't we enough?" they all asked together. "Why did you always run?" The reflection shifted again. Emma saw herself as a 7-year-old girl sitting at the top of the stairs in her childhood home. Her parents were fighting in the kitchen below. Her mother was crying. Her father was yelling about wanting space. The little girl watched her father pack his bags and leave. "I won't ever get hurt like that," the child whispered to herself. "I won't ever let anyone leave me." She pressed her back against the seat, as if bracing for more pain. Emma's throat felt dry and hoarse. She finally understood what she had been doing all these years. She had been so afraid of being abandoned that she had abandoned others first. Every time someone got too close, every time they wanted more commitment, she had found a way to push them away. She had created the very pain she was trying to avoid. The voices grew louder. "Why weren't we enough? Why did you run? Why did you hurt us?" Emma couldn't take it anymore. The truth was too heavy to carry. She had been running from love her entire adult life because she was terrified of being left behind. But by running first, she had become the person who did the leaving. She had turned into the thing she feared most. "I'm sorry," she whispered to the empty train car. The words came out broken and raw. "I'm so sorry. I was scared. I was scared you would leave me, so I left you first." Tears streamed down her face as she spoke to each reflection. "David, I'm sorry I couldn't trust that you would stay. Michael, I'm sorry I ran when you showed me real love. James, I'm sorry I broke your heart." The mirrors began to fade. The voices grew quiet. The train car returned to its normal appearance. Emma sat alone with her tears, finally understanding the truth about herself. The train's brakes squealed as it began to slow. The platform came into view as the train stopped. Emma's heart stopped as she looked out the window. There was the old newsstand where Jake had first smiled at her 3 years ago. And there he stood, wearing his blue jacket and holding a coffee cup just like that first day. Jake turned toward the train. His eyes met hers through the glass. But this time she understood what he represented. He wasn't just her ex-boyfriend. He was her choice between facing her fears or running forever. The doors opened with a soft hiss. Emma stood up slowly. She could stay on this train and repeat the same patterns endlessly. Or she could step off and confront the truth about herself. Her foot hovered over the gap, the train's whistle fading into silence. Jake smiled at her from the platform. "You can do this, Emma," he said quietly. "You don't have to run anymore." Emma took a deep breath. She stepped onto the platform, finally ready to stop running from love. A car alarm blared in the distance, sharp and sudden. She woke up in her apartment, sunlight streaming through her bedroom window. Her phone was buzzing on the nightstand. A text from Jake. "I'm sorry about last night. Can we talk?" Emma picked up her phone and typed back, "Yes, let's talk." Have you ever faced a moment where you had to choose to stay or run? Share your story below.
Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and stay tuned for more exciting content. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.